Hello everyone, today we are meeting for a weekly brief on Peepo, but first we are going to analyze Bitcoin a little to see where we are in the cycle. So I invite everyone not to panic and to take a step back. We are going to look right now at where we are in the cycle to see what still lies ahead of us. So I have this picture that I would like to share. The bull run always happens in 4 phases, or rather the cycle does. So we have the correction, the bear market, then we enter the pre-bull, then we have the bull run, we just entered it. We often mark the halving in the bull phase, and then we have the mania phase, which is the parabolic phase. Well, here it was a bit short-circuited, but we still had a lot of opportunities at that point. It was at this moment that Shiba exploded. So there are plenty of things to do, even at the end of the bull run. So open your mind. There is still a long way ahead of us, but you need to understand that we are already more than halfway through the cycle. So that's important. For me, we still have a good year ahead of us. And be careful in the bull run here, you see, we pump and then correct very hard. Just because we are in a bull run in the market doesn't mean there won't be traps and pitfalls at all. Here during the bull run, we had the COVID crash, one of the most dramatic moments in crypto. I experienced it myself. So there you have it. In terms of the long term, in the long term, there is no need to worry. If we look at the cycle, we are in a bear trap, which is the moment in time when those who sell are trapped. And of course, everyone will say, yes, but there is an M top. Well, what could be more trapping than showing an M for McDonald's to signal a bear trap? So that's what's happening here. Okay, we have a very nice M. Everyone sees it. Okay, hop. We have a very nice M, so we will even draw it like this, the M of McDonald's. And then from there, I don't know how far we can go, but I have a little idea, perhaps a bit more. It's essentially the trap, and the goal is to lock in as many sellers as possible in the hole, basically. Essentially. And at some point, quickly rebound to close the trap and continue the rest of the bull run. So we are simply experiencing the bear trap. It hurts. When will I start to worry? Well, let's look at the chart here. And we can see that here we have a very important line. Indeed, for me, it's a crucial inflection line. Here we have the total line where you see when we go beyond, we get pushed back and we come back. Here, we are even going to make it thicker. It's defended. And that's what really needs to be broken through decisively. To really kick off the next phase of the bull run, we will call this the mania phase of the bull run, where everyone comes in, everyone wants to buy Bitcoin. So we were at a point where Bitcoin was bad, and now everyone wants it. It's going to happen soon. Look at why this line is interesting. First here, we go back to the time. We come back from the Elon Musk crash. We are already getting rejected here. We propel forward and then we go along with all of this euphoria. You can see here very clearly how we crumple up the price a bit more. And then when we lose this level, suddenly bang, acceleration. Then after some time, we push it back again. It took several years to come back right here at this inflection point, where initially pushed prices down before breaking them clearly. Now we're at support until proven otherwise. So this support right now at this very moment, this crucial line that has been causing issues for Bitcoin for several years, may have finally become our ally in this ongoing struggle. Do you know when? So we will mark it in green. When a resistance is decisively broken, it becomes our support. So the psychology changes, and what I notice here as well is that we have the same kind of pattern. We have an accumulation here, then a sharp drop, and then we go back up here. So here we are flat, we drop sharply, indeed we recover here, and we certainly aim for this point. So we take the fractal, look at the capitulation as well. If we take the capitulation, we could be at the end, or maybe we still have one last wick, one last acceleration that would bring us to around 49, 50. But for me, we are in zones where we should begin to notice if we have one last capitulation, it will definitely be the last one. From there, we should definitely start to accumulate or maybe even move up faster. you will see it. And if I zoom out, you will see that we are looking for the necessary momentum to break through this black line and settle above it. And then obviously we will resume the trend. One of my mentors always said, when the trend reverses, it really reverses. So at this point, this is where you should have thought about selling, in my opinion. Starting to think about selling here is not very smart because we are in a zone where it could turn around suddenly and we would no longer be on the train. So even though it hurts at the moment, I encourage everyone not to panic and, well, to stay cautious. From when I must say I indeed recognize that indeed I will start to panic. From that very moment it turns red again. Therefore, we would break this frankly with a pullback, and then we would need to stop messing around a bit. That would mean we would have an entirely cancelled bull run. Really, from that very moment, I could talk about an entirely cancelled bull run. I have an extremely bullish pattern that makes me think otherwise. So here, we are on what is known as a descending bullish broadening wedge, right? So here we have exactly the same pattern forming, right? And it's a very bullish pattern, as you can see clearly. So here we connect the closures here and there. We were exactly with the wick hitting the closure. So the question I'm asking myself is whether we're going to go a bit lower before going back up and closing really around 52, which is a significant level, and then restarting the run, continuing the upward trend. That's it in this way. This is the scenario I am considering. Where did we finish? What makes me think we might have already finished the descent? Now, this is just a supposition. Be careful. It's this. Here we have a kind of small shoulder. We could just have the head right here with the capite. Then another shoulder right here. We would indeed definitely resume here with hop this. And we would actually accelerate, which would essentially basically give us here, look, a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. We would have the 3 small dips and then break the trend line with a very pleasant target. Let's not hide it. A target that could bring us to $91,500 for Bitcoin. To provide more context and understanding, this is exactly the pattern it is currently creating, considering various market factors and historical data. So personally speaking, even if we start to bleed towards this particular area, which will hurt a lot, I still remain bullish. I think that far too many people are waiting for 52 or 50 to reload their positions. What could be more interesting than short-circuiting the movement right in the middle so that those who were waiting to reload here experience fear of missing out, FOMO, and accelerate the price and chase after the price? So what could be better than making a complete 180-degree turn before hitting the predetermined trajectory and leaving all those who were waiting for the first stop or the T1 zone with their limit orders that won't trigger? I think that would really be a bear trap, in which we would also entrap the bulls who are a bit too greedy with their acquisition prices. We are going to move on to Peepo. Before I move on to Peepo, I wanted to show you the analysis from a community member that is very well done. So here we have the impulse, we created a peak, we correct, we have a plateau, we have a bit of an accumulation zone, and then we break through again, slightly. So obviously here we are creating a peak again, and you can see that we are going to come back down to this peak here. There you go. With some small capitulations, we are creating key movements. We are here on the zone. It's the same thing after here. You see, we come back, we stall a bit here, and then we gain momentum and break through decisively. And here we reach a very important price zone, which also marks a peak. All right. And then we come back, correct, and fall right back here on this previous peak with the support and the zone. All right, and we could have an impulse here of X20, X30 coming, where we could actually reach the ATH here. So for me, honestly, this is very realistic. It's just price action based on supports and resistances, and you see that it makes sense. Now, let's go to my charts to join Peepo's technical analysis, and we'll finish on the weekly. First, here on Bitgate, we have zones, precisely beautiful long fallings. We have a long falling buy zone, we take off. We have a long falling big buy zone, we take off. We have a big falling, a large buying zone, and we take off. So it's true that here it looks like it's hanging down. It's not very pretty. It might just go. There you go. Make one last wick a bit lower to create what we call an extended W. We are going to somewhat stretch the elastic to indeed send the price back up. He could definitely do it. It's not impossible, especially if Bitcoin, the leading cryptocurrency, gives one last push to reach 50,000. Now, if Bitcoin recovers now, I think we found our zone. At this point in time, in my opinion, it seems that. How do I really show you? Here too, this reassures me so much a lot. On the warped Ethereum versus Ethereum, not USD, you can see that we have the filings. Here we are untying the peak and we have come back exactly to the peak, and now we are doing an extend. So we are doing a bullish extend on, on the king of paid, but against the dollar. Since the dollar has been stronger than the cryptos, well, we are doing an extend. We are pulling the string, so now we extend upwards, while on the Waypad we extend downwards. But this is where we need to look, because we trade against cryptos. The goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin and Ethereum as possible. And for me, that's really nice because we've marked another support here. We hit it again here, and we're creating a small zone, which could be really nice. So here the price is protected. I also look at warped Ethereum. If warped Ethereum goes down here, it means that Peepo is no longer starting to lose value against the dollar. And that's not too bad because cryptos are currently losing value against the dollar. But it means that it is starting to lose value against Ethereum, which is already losing value against the dollar. So that means he's getting crushed, basically. So that would start to make me panic for Peepo. And so here, lately and recently on weekly, in our discussions, we are still in our Jess Livermore accumulation cylinder discussing trends. So this is the main figure really with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And precisely now we are going to zoom in a bit on the daily. We are going to take a look at what is happening. You see here, hop at 0.7. Well, already we are. If I draw an arrow here, I go up, right? So we are gaining strength again. But last time, well, it was about to touch here. 1, 2, here it almost touched. Almost. And so here, maybe it will gain more strength by continuing to accumulate and gather more strength to precisely and accurately touch this specific point like that, then regain its strength and momentum at the bottom of zone 7 to be able to continue its acceleration in a consistent manner and precisely reach the designated point 8 with great precision and accuracy. All right, take the first target that I showed you on the detailed, in-depth and thorough analysis of our dear friend Onizuka, and on the correction, the 9th point, and maybe then start taking real, substantial and significant profits. It might really be time to start exiting the bull run. So at that precise and exact moment, we might have executed the bull run pattern of Peepo. But for now, until proven otherwise, and this is great despite Bitcoin dropping extremely hard, almost drastically, Bitcoin tends to pull down while Peepo does this. So while Bitcoin goes that way, Peepo goes this way, meaning it is technically and fundamentally stronger than Bitcoin and holds its position better. Now, I am not saying we won't lose something, which wouldn't surprise me either if Bitcoin starts to mess around a bit, causing some fluctuations. It would be, as I said, a spring now where we might even go a bit lower, potentially perhaps. If you look here, if I put it in bars, you can see it on Bitgate, sorry. If I put it here and connect a bar like this, it's there. Actually, you see, it could really go down to take support around 227, maybe 200 or even lower. The last one really stretched the elastic, which scares me a bit more. Look how it stretched the elastic here and then came back significantly above its line. So it might come back to somewhat bother everyone a little. There you go. As you can see, it wouldn't surprise me to see a spring here indeed. There you go. Clearly. We go back and then we definitely hold on. It wouldn't be completely impossible. But until proven otherwise, for this very moment, that's absolutely not the case at all. But we need to stay realistic. And as I say again, even if we spring here, but remain bullish on Bitcoin. We might go a little lower like this, really looking for one last close, then drop a bit more slowly, or even crash around here, okay, towards those bags over there. And well, honestly speaking, that would really be one last capitulation just to go for everything right here. Well, we could really have a problem, indeed a real problem with Peepo, but as soon as it picks up again, well, Peepo will certainly and definitely pick up too. So there you have it, stay positive. We are looking at a really bullish setup taking shape. We might have already hit the bottom, but only time will tell. Be careful about possibly revisiting this area, so I'll show you with my marker what that could look like. Okay, here, I'll show you what that could look like. We would gain a little bit more momentum, hop slightly, and then we would go down, clack here, and then we would go back up, and we would come back here again. And here, as you can see, we would also have our hop, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then shoulder, head, shoulder again in this sequence. So we might potentially go lower, which would bring us to approximately around 58,000. If we do that, there are two possibilities for Peepo. Will it do its elastic move? So slide lower, or even better, will it hold? So don't forget that it can also come without necessarily overflowing. Just come a little lower compared to here. Just take the liquidity and touch its trend line. Click here around 220.7 and then go back up to create its bullish structure. Take the time to look at the long term and don't panic too much. Anyway, we stay together and keep moving forward. Thank you for this video. See you next week.